Alright, well I'm in the driver's seat, so this is exciting. Any special things, or just turn?
Yep,
Okay.
turn, automatic, easy, luxury barge. Yeah.
Just put my hand up so I can say something. I don't know why I need to do that on my own video. First ever Rotary I've driven.
Nice.
Ever.
Yeah. Oh, the horn doesn't work, just that's FYI in case you need to beep at someone. First row. Yeah, it's probably going to be the most boring Rotary of a drive. But
I have low expectations in life in general, man, so you're all good.
Great.
Just for me, the whole interesting thing is, I mean, Rotaries are technically two-stroke, aren't they? So
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Even from factory they have what's called oil metering pump.
Okay.
So that pumps in sump oil,
Yeah.
but most people delete that and mix in two-stroke oil into the petrol tank.
I used to sell at a motorbike shop when I worked there,
Yeah.
two-stroke oil quite often to people that had Rotaries, so it was pretty interesting to see
Yeah.
what they would use, and I guess that's my question answered. Why were they doing that? That's because they've deleted the factory feature to mix oil in.
Yeah.
So this technically burns through oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think as part of the unreliable Rotary thing back in when they were new, was that if people didn't maintain them, like regularly check your oil, you should probably change it every 6-12 months anyway. But,
Yeah.
you know, maybe people, well, I guess there's lazy people now, so there was lazy people back then. Didn't do that, and you eventually run out of sump oil or get it dangerously low and run out. Yeah.
So Rotaries do have a bit of a whole thing with reliability, and so I guess we should touch on that. The reliability issues are founded, or are they unfounded? I mean, this thing's 1985. It seems to still be going. I'm driving it right now, and it seems somewhat reliable. It starts first go. Fuel injection definitely helps. I don't know if you watched Mighty Car Mods and you saw that they just fuel injected that RX-7 that they've got.
Yeah.
And that's,
cool.
Obviously a massive help, and I don't get super caught up in the, oh no, it needs to be exactly how it was. If you improve the reliability of something, then awesome. So apex seals blowing, things like that, why does that all come from? Is that just too much power?
I think it's just because they're rev happy engines, so people they want to be thrashed, if that makes sense. They love revs, and so if you're a 15, 16-year-old kid that's maybe back in the day bought their first one, don't know too much about them, that they are slightly different to a piston engine.
Yeah.
Warm them up so everything's at temperature before giving it a good thrash.
Yes.
And maintenance, I guess, isn't the next part, right? Like, you want good oil because the seals need lubrication.
Yeah.
They don't have piston rings, it's all seals. There's corner seals, there's apex seals, there's water seals, so there's all those different parts that just you want to run coolant, again, because it can corrode the alloy. There's just, if it's well maintained, there's no reason why a stock one can't go well. People often pull them down to modify them anyway, even before they've blown up, but because normally when a car's blowing up, it's going to do some damage. Either a housing will have to be thrown away, or it'll do some plate damage, or a rotor will be distorted. There's going to be something that's gone wrong if it's blowing up.
What's your intended maintenance schedule, or what have you done on this? Like, what will you do to try keep this thing happy and alive as is?
Yep. First thing I did when it arrived in the country was the radiator had no coolant, so flush all that rusty old water out. Who knows how old it is. The oil didn't look too bad, but I did an oil change. So two super basic maintenance things: new oil, new filter, new air filter, and new radiator coolant. Mid to long term, well, I'll probably do the oil change every 6-12 months because it won't get driven that much.
Yeah.
So, I'll be lucky to do 3,000 Ks a year of that.
Okay.
So an oil change probably annually, air filter change roughly the same annually, or I'll buy a K&N pod, or not pod thing, a K&N panel.
Rechargeable panel filter.
Yeah, one of those ones that keep you on the factory intake.
Yeah.
And maybe delete the factory oil metering pump, delete power steer. Oh no, keep the power steering, delete the AC.
Yeah.
There's even in the 80s there was an emissions. They put in what's called a smog pump, which basically pumped air into the exhaust to make it seem like it was cleaner.
Yes.
So from an emission standpoint, so delete that. It's got all the restrictive 80s stuff on it that could delete. And again, probably like you're not a purist, I don't really care if it's 100% factory in the engine bay or not. Some people would. Again, I'd much rather have a nicer driving car and not modify it extremely. Like, I'm not going to rebuild it unless it needs rebuilding. was thinking about maybe a manual conversion, but
Auto's weird, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it right now. Driving this thing, there's no perfect spot at cruising speed.
No.
City cruising speed. So I'm doing 50 kilometers an hour, and I'll get a shot of this dash at some point, because I really like the way the whole thing just kind of fills up with color instead of your needle turning. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, you can't find the sweet spot. So I feel like we're kind of going.
You could flick off overdrive. It may not drop it down a gear, maybe. No, not at that speed yet. Overdrive probably makes a difference at 70.
Yeah.
And it's that miss at low revs. It's maybe some, there's so many vacuum, hoses and bits and pieces in this engine bay that I don't know if I'll be able to diagnose it myself. I've done basic things like plugs, leads, new distributor cap, new distributor rotor.
It's very interesting. Like, I don't know what I expected a Rotary to be like. Not really anything, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't know. All I know is the sound, and it does have the sound. You can definitely feel that its power is up high.
Yeah.
That's super apparent to me. But apart from that, it's just like a really nice luxury barge. Sorry, I found it. I found it, everybody.
Power band.
Yeah.
So
There's a guy in a Ranger trying to race me, and in New Zealand, most Ford Ranger drivers just cause mischief on the roads. And it doesn't matter who you are, if you get into a Ranger, you tend to do the same thing. It's just kind of a
default.
Yeah, it's like a chemical imbalance in the materials of the seat or something. You sit down and it just turns into a dickhead.
Bye.